there, guys, over on Crackbook and Tweety and you YouTubers. And I don't know whether this goes over onto my LinkedIn. I'm not 100% sure. It's not really pro enough for that side of things, I think. Anyway, I have been catching up tonight on all of the G7 meetings and all of the United Nations and EU and singular governments on how they are dealing with this depopulation. And I've sort of been in prayer, into some reflection time, and been doing some thinking. And obviously I've spent the last sort of 10 years really preparing, well, not necessarily me preparing, because I haven't been in a situation to necessarily do so, or more to the point, I moved into action to start preparing, and obviously I was deemed as completely and utterly grandeur and crazy, and Aaron and Faith were taken from me when a little white mouse sort of went into a field she sort of wasn't meant to be in, wasn't invited, didn't buy a ticket, and managed to get her foot in the door of some elite people who were basically, evening there, Karen, basically discussing the development of the humanoids and the nanoids and sustainability and things like that. I've shown you on a live something that my friend and I, Sue, drew up about the implementation plans for sustainability up to 2013, and this was right back in 2010. This was a 30-year plan. Obviously I ended up in that meeting, wasn't meant to be in that meeting, shouldn't have been in that meeting, and had no rights to be in that meeting. But when George Osborne in 2010 announced all of the cuts and stuff, it was a time of great reflection for me. It was a time of, okay, I'm a single mum, I have 4 children, and I was fat as fuck because I had slipped my discs and I had been through an abusive relationship with him constantly calling me a fat bitch. And my psychology was telling me that my battery might not hold because this charger has now completely given up the goose on me, and it might not continue to hold. So if it cuts out, you'll know, because it'll start going blah, 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 blah. But I do have my laptop and I am going to talk for a bit. I wasn't going to because I've still got stuff to do here. I've got moved on a lot further, so I now have my coffee and my nice little things ready, and I've been waiting to do this with you because I didn't get one of these through the door, by the way, but everybody in the block did, bar me, funny enough. So Jamie brought his down, and I really wanted to go through this because I think it is really, really, really important on us really, really, really coming together as individuals here in Great Britain, and not just in Great Britain. We need to really think about this as a whole, because if what's I believe and many other people believe, and we have the documents and evidence that back up what we're saying, we're not just crazy people sitting on YouTube trying to fearmonger or scare people into well, we're not here to fearmonger you. I'm not here to fearmonger you. I'm here to prepare you. And I've been here since 2010 to try to prepare you for this very fucking moment. And if you go back over my lives, you'll go, hang on a minute. Didn't she say not long ago that this is the reason Dean has been leaving and going to Spain, because he's been trying to get me to go with him? And it's been a case of Dean, he went and tested France and he said, no way, France is going to go massive. And he went to Spain and he sort of went, the cameras ain't there, the doodah's there, it's a lot easier to hide there, it's going to hit there, so he chose the hills. Tested out a couple of places, going to do Germany, blah, 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 blah. So, but in the end, I said, no, I am the director of Step Up Britain, I am staying in Britain, and the director of Step Up Britain came way before I had my children. The reason it started way before I had my children was because I was what was considered a rebel with a cause as I was growing up and going through my years in school. And I really want to get onto something really important while I talk about school, because I don't know how to tell you how to trust where my downloads come from, where my understanding comes from. How, if you've ever seen the film about the Indian lad, the $1 million thing, and people couldn't quite understand how he could answer these questions because of the life that he had come from. He didn't have that level of education. He shouldn't know these things. But the lifestyle that he'd had given him an insight into education. Take escorting. Can you imagine what I learnt sitting around tables with judges and people like that? You know, you keep your ears to the ground, don't you? So, and also just through university, through the fact that I had the opportunity of being an army wife, you know, being a pad sprat, which is basically a person's waiting to divorce. So basically, a pad, an army child. And throughout my life, especially when I ended up in a wheelchair, I read a lot, I studied a lot. And as I was growing and coming more into hope that maybe there was something bigger than where I was coming from, and maybe there was a way that we internally healed from within ourselves, and understanding more about what I put into my body, what I did to my body, and how I treated my body, and the outcomes that my body would have. And battering myself as well over the battles that I've had with the EDS and people always looking for what is wrong with me. I came to learn there was quite a lot right with me, but people didn't like me challenging the truth, especially at school, especially in history, especially in RE, especially in maths, especially in these areas where I used to tell them that that doesn't fit, that doesn't work right with that. But if you look at that and that, then this doesn't actually go together. And in fact, I actually got banned from science at school in the end. And I kept bringing things back to basics, and they were trying to complicate things for me and put, okay, energy to the scientist is perpetual transmutation. To the layperson, it's energy. To the scientist, it's perpetual transmutation. It's exactly the same as the law lingo and everything like that. I watched Boris Johnson tonight. I hope my sound is working okay, and when I'm at home I will try and go back to the laptop. I just find the phone easier for some reason. I don't like all the complex of everything else in the phone, or like this just keeps it very simple for me. Excuse me. Watching Boris Johnson tonight, that man looked like he had just had a gun put to his head and told, this is what you're going to read out. Now, obviously, most people in Great Britain are watching their Prime Minister. People in America are watching it, saying my thing's not supported. Most people in America are watching their Prime Minister. And sometimes even in these countries, they're not even watching. People don't read the news, people don't watch the media. Some people aren't even on social media. A lot of people are actually quite oblivious to what is going on at the moment. Now, when you watch David Cameron tonight, not David Cameron, sorry, what the fuck am I talking about David Cameron? Where is David Cameron? Lord, where's David Cameron, by the way, guys? Is he going to be off into the moon? Because don't forget, by the way, the button to the moon is going soon, and all of those who think they're going to be saved from this depopulation virus are all actually nearly ready, and the launch for those that are going to attempt to go off to the moon to save themselves from this virus is nearly here. That's another story, another time. Don't forget when I went to the NAC in 2011, I don't talk about 2011 so much, but in 2011 our crewed for Russell Brand, not the Russell Brand, sorry, Richard Branson. And he actually launched the ticket sales at that particular event for 2020. So tonight, look at these 3 paths. Isolate the elderly, keep the children in school, work from home if you can, and the rest have to go to work. Do not let your children go to school. Think about this logically. If they're asking everybody who is coughing or showing any form of signs of, say, fever, so they're really the only 2 signs, coughing and fever. So that could be anything, cold, flu, even just been in a smoky room, signs of many different things. Things that people should go to hospital for and could ultimately die if they don't go to hospital. Let's go make sure Shiloh settles. Oh shit, he's hanging out the bed backwards. 2 seconds, guys. So, basically, think about this logically. And I mean really logically. Like, even get a pen and paper and write those 3 options down. So it's practically 4 options. So isolate the elderly. So literally isolate all of the elderly. Move your pillow, darling. There you go. See, blanket off your legs. Oh, I can't even click my phone off now. Okay. I'm going to click off, guys, and come back in a minute.